Hello, how much do you know about Jim Morrison and the Doors? We have a 50-question challenge for you about one of the best rock bands in history. Do you think you can answer all of them correctly?
What was the year of formation of the Doors?
The Doors were formed in 1965.
In which city were the Doors formed?
The Doors formed in Los Angeles, California.
Where was the name The Doors inspired from?
The band took its name from a verse by poet William Blake. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite.
Who were the founding members of the band?
The founding members of the band were Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek, Robbie Krieger, and John Densmore.
In what famous club in Los Angeles, California did the Doors play in the beginning?
At the Whiskey A Go Go, in the Hollywood district.
What was the Doors' debut album?
The Doors' debut album is simply titled The Doors.
In what year was the first album released?
The first album was released in 1967.
Who was the lead vocalist of the band?
Jim Morrison was the band's lead vocalist.
What was the Doors' first hit single?
The Doors' first hit single was Break On Through to the Other Side.
What musical genres characterize the Doors' music?
The Doors' music explored styles such as psychedelic rock, blues rock, rock amp, roll.
What instrument did Ray Manzarek play in the Doors?
Ray Manzarek played keyboards in the Doors.
What is Jim Morrison's full name?
Jim Morrison's full name is James Douglas Morrison.
At what university did Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek meet?
Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek met at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA.
What famous poet influenced Jim Morrison's lyrics?
The poet who influenced Jim Morrison's lyrics was the French poet Arthur Rimbaud.
What was the Doors' first #1 hit on the charts?
The Doors' first #1 hit was Light My Fire.
For which song recorded by the Doors were they sued for plagiarism?
The lawsuit was for the song Hello, I Love You.
Who sued the Doors for plagiarism?
Ray Davies, leader of the Kinks, denounced them for their resemblance to the song All Day and All of the Night.
Why was Jim Morrison called the Lizard King?
Because of the verse written by Morrison, I'm the Lizard King, I can do anything.
What is the longest song by the Doors?
The longest song is The End. with a duration of 11 minutes and 41 seconds.
How many studio albums did the Doors release in total?
The Doors recorded 9 studio albums: The Doors, Strange Days, Waiting for the Sun, The Soft Parade, Morrison Hotel, LA Woman, Other Voices, Full Circle, and American Prayer.
On which record company did the Doors release most of their albums?
On Elektra Records, owned by Warner Music.
What is considered the most successful song by the Doors according to the Billboard charts?
Light My Fire was number 1 for 23 weeks.
Who wrote the song Light My Fire?
The author was Robbie Krieger.
What album contains the song Light My Fire?
Light My Fire is found on the Doors' self-titled debut album.
What other song by the Doors was at number 1 on the Billboard charts?
Hello, I Love You, for 12 weeks.
Who was the main producer of the Doors?
Most of the Doors albums were produced by Paul A. Rothchild.
Who was the bassist of the Doors?
The band never had a bassist for their live performances. The bass sound was made by Ray Manzarek with his Fender Rhodes piano bass.
What was the Doors' first album to go platinum?
The Doors' first album to go platinum was their self-titled debut album, The Doors.
What was the name of Jim Morrison's girlfriend?
His girlfriend was Pamela Corson.
What was the Doors' most experimental album?
The Doors' most experimental album was The Soft Parade.
Which album was the first to reach number 1 in sales?
Waiting for the Sun, his third studio album.
What was the last studio album released by the Doors while Jim Morrison was alive?
The last one was LA Woman in 1971.
What was the last single released by the Doors with Jim Morrison alive?
The last single released by the Doors with Jim Morrison alive was Love Her Madly.
What was the Doors' last concert with Jim Morrison?
The Doors' last concert with Jim Morrison was in New Orleans in 1970.
What was the Doors' most successful live album?
Absolutely Live, released in 1970.
Where was Jim Morrison arrested on charges of inciting a riot, indecency, and public obscenity?
At the New Haven Arena in New Haven, Connecticut, on December 9, 1967.
Which album contains the song Riders on the Storm?
Riders on the Storm is found on the album LA Woman.
What date did Jim Morrison die?
On July 3, 1971.
In which city did Jim Morrison die?
Jim Morrison died in Paris, France.
What was the official reason for Jim Morrison's death?
The official version is that he died of a heart attack.
Where is Jim Morrison buried?
Morrison's grave is located in the Père-Lachaise Cemetery in eastern Paris.
What was the first Doors album to be released after Jim Morrison's death?
The Doors' first album released after Jim Morrison's death was Other Voices in 1971.
What was the first single released by The Doors after Jim Morrison's death?
The first single released by The Doors after Jim Morrison's death was Tightrope Ride.
What is The Doors' best-selling compilation album?
The Doors' best-selling compilation album is The Best of the Doors, released in 1985.
In what year were The Doors inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
The Doors were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993.
What biographical film was released in 1991 about the band's history?
The film titled simply The Doors.
Who was the director of the 1991 film The Doors?
The director was Oliver Stone.
Which actor played the role of Jim Morrison in the movie The Doors?
Jim Morrison was played by actor Val Kilmer.
Who was the biggest influence on Jim Morrison?
His greatest influence as a singer was Elvis Presley.
What date does Ray Manzarek die?
On May 20, 2013 in Rosenheim, Germany, at the age of 74.
How many successes did you have? Did you learn any new information that you didn't know about this iconic American band? Leave us a comment. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell to notify you when we upload more quizzes about the fascinating world of music. Thanks for participating. We hope to see you soon.